Hi, in this video I'm going to show you part of configuration for the SQL Integration module. SQL Integration module is used when you would like to achieve more advanced integration use cases between mfiles and the SQL database. So using the mfiles built-in integration with the SQL, you can fetch the data, you can send the data back to the mfiles, you can map properties, so you can map properties in the mfiles with the columns in the SQL. But here in the extension kit with the SQL integration, you will see you can achieve much more advanced integration options. So let's take a look at the configuration. I'm going to open SQL integration module, and here I have rule groups. I'm going to select one rule group, which is the document object type, and then for the rule I'm going to select the contract sync. So this rule says that when contract is active, send data to database. So we have the contract. When contract entered the state, we would like to send data to the SQL database. Trigger type in this case is object entered state. For the trigger source, we have document of class contract, in workflow contract, and state active. Now this is the triggering part, which is the similar as in every other extension kit module. But here for the SQL settings, you can specify the integration with the SQL. Database can be Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, or SQL Server. I have selected SQL Server, and then you can specify the connection string. You can define the value for the connection string, where you specify where your server is located and how you're going to be able to connect to the server. Then we define the query type. Now this is the interesting part. You can choose if you want to execute a query, so you can execute the insert query. For example, in this case, when we would like to insert some data to the database, we can use the insert query. But in this case, we want to use the store procedure. So the idea of the store procedures would be that you want to pass data from the mfiles to the SQL. Inside the SQL, you want to use the store procedures, and then within the store procedure, it's up to you how you want to handle the data. So you can send the data to the different tables, you can store them, you can apply functions, do any kind of business logic that you would like before you're storing actually something in the database. For example, that database can be the database in the middle, which is used for integration between the mfiles and your ERP. And for that purpose, you want to, before you store the contract information, you would like to adapt the data and then only then store it to the database, which then will send the data, or the ERP will read the data from that database. Store procedure name. So I have the SP insert contract store procedure, and then what you can see here is store procedure parameters. That means that for every parameter inside the store procedure, you can choose how you want to pass this information from the mfile. So for example, if we have a name, so it's contract name, parameter name is name, database type, so type inside the database is a string. It can also be byte, boolean, currency, date, whatever you need on the database side. For a parameter mode, you can choose static or dynamic. So for example, if you want to pass some static information to the SQL, like from the mfiles, you can define it here. But if you choose dynamic, you can choose if you want to use the expression, property, file name, or email address, just to have everything covered for sending the data from the mfiles. Let's imagine that we want to use expression, and for the expression, we define the parameter value, which is the contract name. So property contract name inside the mfiles, inside the metadata under the contract name, that value will be sent to the parameter name of store procedure name. And now the same applies to other fields. As you can see here, let me just scroll up a bit. We have the advanced configuration mode included, which also means that you can specify some more advanced things like what you want to happen what you want to do when the error happens. If you would like to, for example, if you get some return value from the database, you can then store this store this value as a SQL query result property. You can define what will be the rollback query on transaction stop. So for example, if you do the insert and then something fails, you would like to maybe run the rollback query when that transaction is stopped. For any reasons, just for you to ensure the data integrity and to be able to achieve basically any SQL integration use case between the mFiles and the SQL Server. Once again, just to wrap up, the triggering part has all the options like other extension kit modules. So you define the trigger, object created, enter state, object changed whenever you want to transfer the data to the SQL, and then as a part of the SQL settings, you define what exactly you would like to call. That does not have only to be calling the store procedure that insert the data or query that insert the data, but that can also be like select statements and in specific state of the, for example, if you have when the contract is active, go to the SQL database, select the information or some commercial information about that specific vendor, and then get information from the SQL to the mFiles. Thank you for watching this video.